Hey guys, Jay Fish the creator here. I'm gonna try this YouTube thing one more time. I've moved about an hour away from where I was. I'm out of high school now. Got a lot of responsibilities, lots of cars, lots of things to fix up. So may as well record some. I mean, I've done a lot of the crap already, but figured I'll show you guys around and hopefully I'll get some more subscribers and some more views. Starters for the vehicles. Got the 01 black Acura CL 3.2 Type S. Was originally black on tan or black on ivory leather. We changed it to black leather because the ivory leather was completely destroyed. I have it torn apart in there right now, chasing an electrical issue. I think this one has 176,000 odd miles on it. Still runs and drives fine. Hood struts work. J32, 260 horse, blah blah blah. If you know about these cars, you know they're fast, fun, but they're boaty. Then I got my 91 Accord EX sedan, 5-speed, still a stock engine, F22A4, so it's a 2.2 liter single cam. Makes I think it was 130 or 135 horsepower when it was new. Now with 328,000 miles, I have no clue what it's still making. Has a full exhaust, Megan Racing from the headers back. It has some shitty AEM cold air because I let someone else buy my stock air box. I put the fogs in it, and I haven't wired them up because I don't have the harness. They're hard to find for cheap anyway, and I'm a cheapskate. Someone backed over my hood while I was in a parking lot. I was inside of a Target. It was actually probably around Valentine's Day a couple years ago. When they did that, they chunked my bumper, dented my hood, and destroyed my grill that I had made. It's sitting on, I believe they're Eagle Alloy 028s. I believe are the models of these wheels. I need new tires. They have real bad camber wear. It's lowered on True Heart struts. A lot of you don't believe in them, but I haven't had an issue with them so far. I've had them on here for about 3 years. And I have iBox Sportline springs, the red ones. She's rusty but trusty, and I love this car to death. I originally had maroon cloth interior. I completely swapped out the seats with gray leather from a 96 Accords. The door panels, I couldn't find leather panels, so I just got gray ones. I have my girlfriend's dress in there. I had one of those eBay shift knobs, and stuff started peeling off of it, so I'm going to put the stock one back on. Oh, and I converted the seat to a power seat. Sunroof visor, all that jazz. Yes, rusty. I have the red clear taillights on it. Like I said, full Megan Racing exhaust, so you know she's got that fart cannon. Camber wear was definitely a thing. Yeah, she has all 4 of the mud flaps. Next we have another 2001 Acura CL Type S. This one is the Sunburst Gold color. I recently picked this one up for cheap. It has like 250 or 280,000 miles on it. It runs perfectly fine, just fine. Only thing that I've done to it so far is replaced an axle because I snapped it going around a corner. It was really rusted out at the center where the rubber damper goes. I have the 2 front wheels off of the black Acura on it because had really bald tires on it. The rears are pretty bald as well. The black Acura is not navigation. This one has the navigation. This one has the black leather as well. I bought it for really cheap, and it came with a bunch of service manuals, like OEM Acura service manuals, like not cheapo Haynes manuals or anything. Like, they're the actual legit ones. Expensive, but he threw them in because he was the original owner. But yeah, overall, nice car. My mom's driving this 01 Golf GTI 1.8. It's my sister's, but my mom's borrowing it. It's the 1.8 turbo. It's alright. I mean, the tires are pretty bald on the front, if you know what I'm saying. And then we got the 03 Odyssey EX leather. This is probably the best view you're going to get of this. This is where it looks the best. If you walk up closer to it, it's really beat on for my brother. The hood, I don't know if you can see all those dents in it from him slamming it, because he can't shut it, which is a really easy fix. You just got to pull on the hood release cable. I rebuilt the whole front end on it, and he refused to go get it aligned, so he kept going through tires. Like I said, it's the EX leather, so it's gray leather. It does have the power side doors, however, he wore them out, and the hinges are worn out, so it needs hinges, motors, and cables replaced. I haven't even priced them. I don't want to. I know it's going to be expensive. He got in multiple accidents in it. There's a huge dent in the hatch, paint on it. Destroyed the rear bumper cover. I'm pretty sure it bent the exhaust up a little bit, so the hatch doesn't close right. Pushed the bumper cover out over here and cracked it. But yeah, this one still runs and drives perfectly well. I think it has 260,000 miles on it. It has the J35, which makes 260 horse as well. He didn't do really any maintenance on it while he drove it, so it definitely needs the timing belt and stuff done, because he put well over 60,000 miles on it. Oh, and before I go and look at the rest of the vehicles, here's the little puppers eating. Got little Yoshi and Paco, or Muzzy. Depends on how he's feeling that day. You excited? You just come in, all wore out. And then we got this Sushi here. Hey, baby girl. Alright, now we got this gray truck. It's I want to say it's a 94 C2500, so it's a two-wheel drive, 3/4 ton truck. It has the 14-bolt semi-float, 6-lug rear axle. Obviously it's two-wheel drive. It was a Cheyenne model, so it was a work truck. My brother bought this for $1,200, destroyed the transmission. I put a rebuilt one in it, and he destroyed that within 3 months. So it just sat. I bought another truck and ripped the engine out of this to throw in there, and I'll show you that truck in a few. This one I'm probably going to cut up and either make a trailer out of the bed and part of the frame, or just cut it up and take it to the scrapyard and get rid of it, unless anyone's interested in parts. It does have the smoothie bumper on it, and the rear one is not a smoothie, but it does have the impact strips and stuff on it. It has a good tailgate. I'll probably keep that. I'm probably going to keep that tailgate, that bumper, and those taillights. The frame's not rusty. The bed is, the body is, but the frame's not. Then we have the 02 CL Type S. As you can see, it has Accord wheels on it. Why, you may be asking? Well, the wheels that were on this, I put on the orange car because the orange car didn't come with wheels. Why are the headlights missing and there's a blue bumper on it? Well, my other brother, not the one that destroyed the van and had this truck, he has an 03 Type S manual. It's lowered, and he ripped this bumper apart and his ballast went out. So I sold him the bumper and ballasts and kept his old ones. I just haven't really put anything back together because I had to use a bunch of the hardware from this one on his car. I plan on fixing this one up and building the engine, throwing a supercharger on it, and making memes out of it on the street. But for now, it sits where it's at until everything else gets done. This one is the donor car that we took the black leather out of, and it now has the torn up tan leather. It's gutted. It has like the center console, but no door panels. Still has the power windows and stuff, but no door panels, none of that super thick carpeting or sound deadening. And the bumper and taillight are torn off because the brother that destroyed that and that slammed into it with a U-Haul truck and ripped the bumper off and completely destroyed the body there. But it didn't really matter because it was already in a T-bone accident, and we tried to push that out. So she's not pretty, but this one is fast. This one keeps up with the manual pretty well. So that's why I plan on building this one, and then once the tranny goes, I'll rebuild it. Next we have the white CB. This one is a 90. It's a coupe. It's really rusty. It does have the wing on it and the OEM tails. The suspension is gone. Drive it down the road, we always called it the bounce house. Super rotty. This one's going. I'm going to pull the doors and whatnot off of it, the interior, because the interior is in mint condition, and probably the trunk lid and spoiler, just because they're hard to find. Like I said, the interior is in mint condition. This is the red cloth. Yeah, there's parts laying around in it because, well, you'll see in a few. My garage is kind of a mess right now. I need to clean it up. Yes, these are the super rare dealer option wheels. I have all four. I have Steely's on the back of it because I let someone borrow the other two for a little bit, but they're in the garage. This one has the F22. It got rod knock because I sold it to my friend. He ran it low on oil, started knocking. I was driving it home, and I got about 10 minutes from my house, and the engine locked up on me. So I pulled it home with my dually, and then I got it to unseize and ran it around the block a couple times trying to just blow it up, and the bearings were getting super hot and screeching really loud, so I knew that was going to be a really big mess, so I just left it. Tore the tranny out of it because it was a 5-speed car. Someone came through. I had put this privacy fence up because people were coming in here and taking stuff, and I had cones up there, and in the dead of winter someone threw one of my cones up here, completely destroyed the windshield, which kind of really made me upset. But whatever, you know, life is life happens. Yeah, the fence is ugly. I made it out of pallets. It's not super bad on the other side. It looks bad from back here. I'm going to cut it down to the same height as the fence right there, all the way across. And then I'm going to make it able to be opened, hinge it, make it able to be opened, and lock it and whatnot for the time being until I can afford an actual gate to go there. Again, it's a mess. I have a lot of stuff to pick up, but I also have a lot of stuff I have to do every single day. In my previous videos, you saw like the Smoky Poppy and 93 or 99 Accord F23A1 diagnosis. I got rid of that car because the balance shaft steel started leaking, and I was just tired of it, tired of putting money in it. I bought a bunch of parts and sold it to some kid. Turned around and bought this car. This is a 95 Accord EX leather 5-speed coupe. But here's the kicker. It's not the F22 that you think's in there. It's actually a H22A. It's out of a Japanese Accord SIR wagon. So it makes 240 horse. And it didn't come with a transmission, so I bought a H23, so a Prelude SI trans, and threw it in there. I've just slowly been working on it. As soon as I get it tip top, I'm pulling the swap out of there and throwing it in my 91, the CB from out front, the silver one or gold one. It's the actual color code of that car is Seattle Silver Metallic, so whatever you want to call it. But I'm throwing this swap into that car. So this one was a leather car. Someone took the leather out and put cloth seats in it, but you can see it has the leather inserts even in the back. So I don't know who did that or why, but again, it's a 5-speed car. The body has about 142,000 miles on it. The swap, I have no clue, but it's not a lot. And again, it's a 95, so it has a single tail lights, not the ones that extend into the trunk. I have a bunch of overgrown stuff. I'm going to come out and spray with weed killer and see if I can kill it. I already sprayed some on this crap here. Like I said, I have a bunch of junk laying around that I have to take to the scrap yard. Mufflers, resonators, strut, Y pipes, control arms, Dodge muffler, motor mounts. Yeah, let's go in the garage, get a tour of that real quick. It's not really that big, but you can see the red truck I got to put the engine into. Again, it's a mess. Usually, that blue cable is wound up there. The air compressor hose is around the compressor. That bike shouldn't be in here. The welder would be there. That would be in front of the compressor. Again, it's just hectic in here because I've had a lot on my shoulders to do. Get some of these lights hooked up here. Give me 1 second. Alright, so like I said, it's pretty messy in here. Normally, that orange compressor hose would be around the compressor. That blue extension cord would be wrapped around there. That air tank would be in front of the compressor. The welder would be sitting there. My tools wouldn't be scattered all across the ground. They'd be in my little toolbox or in my tool bag. And that cord there is just temporary. I'm gonna hook up a bunch of lights and whatnot in here, which I already started to put a couple in, because before all I had was that little light there, which isn't much, and I put that in before as well. But that one's not LED, those ones up there are, so I'm gonna probably take that one down. I may leave it, but I'm probably not gonna run that one for really anything. Like I said, I have a bunch of tools laying around. I have a bunch of lights I got. I have a random Type R just chilling there. My toolbox. This fan that's broken. It works when it wants to, but for the most part it's broken. My stock Accord EX wheels from the CB that sits out front in between the CLs. Got black interior from my CB. A bunch of tools laying around. A grill for the Odyssey with the gold badge. Transmission for 04 to 09 Durango 4.7 or 5.7. I needed the solenoids out of it for my uncle's truck, and he wants to put that one in because that one has 80,000 miles and his truck has like 160 or 170 now. Then we have the bike you guys have seen from my other videos. 89 Suzuki GSX 750F, aka a Katana 750. This bike is actually my dad's. I really like the colors on it. It's super 80s and 90s. You know, that's just what I think when I see these. like Miami Vice looking. This bike actually has super low miles. Has 11,000 miles on it. I've been working on it off and on, trying to get it to run right. I got it to run really good there for a few days, and then it sat, and then now it went back to its old ways where it doesn't want to run right. I got my Tomos LX 2002 A35 with the bi-turbo. The baffle was falling off, so I just drilled it off. It has adjustable rear shocks on it. It's a death trap. It needs a lot of work. That's why it's just sitting, not being ridden and not tagged. Again, a bunch of junk laying here. I got a J35 intake, covers for the J32, and for the Odyssey. I know the Odyssey cover is sitting over there for the J35. Got ramps, got stuff set up there. My door doesn't seal well, so dust and stuff gets in here quite often. I have an oil pan for a D17. A bunch of D17 parts over here as well. And cats and mufflers and all kinds of stuff. I like my stuff loud, apparently. Now the cats get clogged over time because of previous owners not maintaining them. So it kind of limits you to only doing 60 miles an hour and crappy fuel economy, so you have to take them out and either cut them out and straight pipe them, or you get the catalyst out of them and re-weld them back in. Okay, so here is the 91 GMC Sierra. I believe it's a SLE or SL. We'll see in a second because the badge is over there. This has, I believe, 90,000 miles. I'll show you the odometer here in a second. And yes, it is 88 to 91. It has the Mooney cluster, has the correct grill. I believe, I don't know which training's in it, if it's a 700 R4 or a 4L60. I'm pretty sure it's a 700 R4 because they brought the 4L60E in 93. But it could be a 4L60, which is the non-electric version. Anyway, this has the TBI 350 out of the gray truck in it. And here's the funny part. So I sat it in here for a test run. I got it all wired up, started, everything's good. The exhaust isn't hooked up, so it's just open manifolds. I go to pull it out of the garage after putting the drive shaft in. It's still drive shaft, and it's a little bit tough to get moving, so I gave it just a little blip of throttle to get it out into the alley. As soon as I get it out there, I give it a little bit of throttle because it got stuck again. As soon as that happened, the drive shaft snapped like it's completely twisted. It didn't snap, it twisted like a pop can. So I wheeled it back in here, and since then I found other things wrong with it, like the brake line was blown out, so great thing I didn't really get to drive it. I replaced that line, go to bleed it, and another line busts, so I have to replace that line now. And I have a drive shaft. I have two that I got on U-joints. I have two different drive shafts to see which one fits. It's a pretty clean truck for the most part. There's some rust, or lots of rust on the rockers and cab corners, but other than that, it's a clean truck. It has the SLE. Let's see if I can crawl over all this junk here. Get on this step board. Let's see. 90,753 miles. Boo-hoo, it's a TBI. It makes like 200 horsepower at the crank. Don't know why it would snap that drive shaft. It must have been pretty rusty. That's that truck. There's my old bike. I know it's rusty. I did this thing called rawing out the frame, which is where you put aircraft paint stripper on the paint and then get it all off, and then your bike is raw metal. And then I just never repainted it, so it's rusty. Now I can take my sander to it and repaint it, or I can just leave it to rust like everything else. What do you think I'm going to do? Let me know in the comments. Now let me go over and hop the fence and show you my two other vehicles. So here is the next one. I just bought this to flip it. I got it for cheap. I'm dumping some time and money into it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and resell it to my girlfriend's mom. I bought it from some people about 10 miles away. They had it on Craigslist for cheap, said it wasn't running. I got it to run. It doesn't run great, but it runs. It's a 05 Durango Hemi. It's a SLT. It's pretty rusty. The hatch works. It sat for a few months, so it's pretty grotty on the outside. It's a leather interior. I don't even know it had these. What are these? Oh, let's fold down so you don't get the headrest dirty. That's cool. My uncle's Durango doesn't have that. Came with an extra headlight. This one has, okay, so this is where my tool bag is, I'm pretty sure. It has my tools in here. Yeah. Got my impact and a bunch of other stuff in here. But it's the gray leather. Durango, nothing really special about it. Let's see. This thing has a lot of miles on it. Let's see here. Let me get my key off. Alright, got my key. So it came with one key. When I took it apart, someone shoved a 2032 battery in it. It's supposed to take a 2025. So when I opened it up, the solder joints were broke. I resoldered it and put a new battery in it, and now it works. Before it didn't. I thought that would be why it wouldn't start, because it wouldn't be getting the transponder signal, but I was wrong. That didn't fix it. But now the locks and stuff work, which is cool. It does have heated seats. The blower motor doesn't work, but funny enough, they left a wiring kit for a blower motor resistor harness right here, so they must have known. So that's something I can probably change later. 195,000 miles. Like I said, I can get it to start now and get it to drive just barely. Like, and when I say barely, I mean it shuts off every 5 seconds on me. Let me pop this open real quick. Okay, got the hood open. First thing I thought was maybe the battery, because I know Chryslers don't like having a low charge. So I took the battery out, cleaned it up, cleaned up the post on the battery, tried cleaning these up. It didn't really work too well, because they were starting to bend on me. Don't know why, but whatever. Next thing I thought was map sensor. Pulled that. Now, I saw a bunch of people were saying that the throttle bodies were a culprit. So I took that completely off and cleaned it out so spotless. Put it back on. Same thing. Ooh, there's some water down there. Is that water? Can't tell if that's water or if that's oil. So maybe that's part of it. Okay. Oh yeah, there's definitely water down in here. So I need to get a cowl on it then. Okay, anyway. So I thought it was a throttle body. So I took it off and cleaned that. Nothing. Map sensor. Changed that. Nothing. Cam sensor. Changed that. And then while I did that, I pulled the plugs. Because I bought brand new plugs put in it. Well, he already put brand new plugs in it. So I put them back in, hooked everything back up. It started, barely, but I could rev it. It just wouldn't idle. So then I pulled the EGR plug, still nothing. Check the oil, it was full. Check the tranny, it's full. Neither of the conditions of the fluids are good, but they're both full. So next thing I did was I pulled it over to the garage, jacked it up, pulled the crank sensor. So on these you have to pull the starter, which is two 15mm bolts, or a 50mm bolt and a 15mm nut. Pulled those, pulled the starter, got the crank sensor out, replaced it. It started to idle a lot better, but then it went back to its old ways. So I tried doing the throttle relearn, which I've been told is turn the key forward and slowly depress the pedal in a 10-second span, and then it'll beep at you or it'll flash check engine light. Did that, nothing. So then I seafoamed it, nothing. Because I know these are real bad about carbon buildup, the 5.7 Hemis are. So that didn't do anything. So my next 2 steps I'm going to take with this vehicle, which I can do, is the transmission filters and fluid, which I'm going to do today. I'm going to record that because it has a spin-on and a sump filter. Spin-on's for line pressure, the sump filter's just for particles and debris. And if that doesn't help, then I'm going to do the fuel pump, because on my uncle's 4.7 Durango, his fuel pump went out at, I think, 160,000 miles. So this one's at 190. It's probably getting clogged up, or at least the filter is in there, because there's no other filter on it, just the one in the tank as far as I know. See if I can get it to start. It looks like there's water down in there. Hopefully there's not. Let's see. See, it'll do this. There we go. There we go. See? Do you hear it? You see the hood shaking? It's running so rough it's shaking. Like, the whole engine's moving back and forth real hard. And idle's real rough. Other people have told me to try the O2 sensors, but there's no code for that. The only code it's throwing right now, let me see, is my code reader in here? It is. Let's see. I think yesterday it was for the evap, which is back on the tank, which is why I also think it could be the fuel pump, because it will not throw a code for the fuel pump. 3 codes. Read. System 2 Rich Bank 1, System 2 Rich Bank 2, then evap, and then it's going to repeat them. Any tranny codes? None. So those 2 I'm gonna have to look into, but it could be the O2 sensors. Could be a number of things, to be completely honest. Let's see if I clear them if they come right back. Yeah, they're still there. So I'm gonna have to look into those now, because those weren't there before, so I'm getting somewhere. So check engine lights on, the service 4-wheel drive lights on, and the ABS lights on, and it just shut off. my assumption is the ABS and service four-wheel drive lights are on because it sat for so long. It needs ran and the rust to get knocked off of the hub-centric rings, or the, why did I say hub-centric? The reluctor wheels. And the check engine lights, obviously, because there's something wrong that I got to tend to. The other thing, I think it has broken exhaust valve springs. Because when it's running, if you hold a piece of paper up to the exhaust, it'll suck in every couple strokes. And it's not like every 8th stroke, it's like every 2nd, 3rd, 4th stroke, you know. It's weird. And the exhaust gets extremely hot compared to any other exhaust that I have, or even on the 4.7 Durango. So those are a couple things I have to look into. It could be because it's running too rich, getting too much fuel, therefore the cats are burning too hot. So there's that one. Now we have the dually. Alright, so let's do a quick walk around of the dually before we go to the inside. So yeah, lots of paint peel. It's a white Chevy. It's a 94 3500. It was a cab-on chassis truck, or cabin chassis truck. It has the West Coast mirrors, which I hate. They're heated, but I don't have them hooked up. It is a 6.5 turbo diesel. I put some Christmas lights and a Frosty on there, but Frosty's eyes fell off. It needs tires really bad. Like I said, it is a 3500 at 1 ton. It is a dually. Heated West Coast mirrors. There's a bunch of crap in the bed from my grandma's house that we have to take to the dump. This fender flare here was like this when I bought it. Again, it needs tires real bad. They're bald and dry rot through the sidewall. But again, look at them leaf springs. It is a dually. It has a GMC tailgate on it, which doesn't work anyway. I have to manually lock it. But it is a Chevy. It has the, I think it's a 15,000 pound drop bumper. Let's see. Yeah, 15,000 pounds. It does have the 14 bolt full floater rear end. It's a 1 ton. So again, expected. The dude I bought it off of, he cut and re-welded the frame and put this bed on it. And the bed isn't really mounted down and looks like it needs cab mounts. Cheyenne work truck, just like the gray one. Let's look inside of it. I have too many keys on this key ring right now. I usually just leave them all inside, but since I'm doing this video, keep them with me. Work truck, blue interior, broken armrest, crank windows, which do work. This door switch does work, the other side doesn't. I took the blue bench seat out of it because it had a huge chunk missing right here, and I got some seats out of a 98 1500 extended cab. This one is power. I don't have the wiring hooked up. I have it rigged so no one can mess with it because I get tired of people moving my seats. But if I need to move it in an emergency, I can. The seat does still flip up though. I have my diesel additive in here, my diesel clean, and some gloves and whatnot. And you know I'm Jay Fish the creator, so I can't really go without base. So I have a 10-inch Type R. There's this, yeah, it's my 10-inch. The 12 inches in the garage. And I have the Orion T300, the hot setup in here. I think it's actually 400 watts because it has a 40 amp fuse. At least that's what I've been told. Random O2 sensor. I gave it to my girlfriend to hold for a second. I guess she threw it in here. Got the hammer ready because I know the starter on this likes to work sometimes and not work sometimes. And I have a new one to put in it. I'm just afraid to because of, well, you guys can do a Google search. Starter change on a 6.5 diesel without breaking the bolts into the block and shearing the ear off of the block, because it is a cast iron block. Center vents and glove box cover are missing. I have extras from my parts trucks, but there's that. I put this in here for my glow plugs, and it recently quit working. So thanks, Dorman. I'll have to replace you, warranty you. Horn don't work. Yes, the wire's in there. No, it's not hooked up because it doesn't work. I have that hardwired to a switch down here. So, it is Hydro Boost. Like I said, it's a 6.5. It has 350,000 miles on it. 351,000 now. Sorry, my finger got in there. See if it'll start for us. Maybe we'll get lucky. Usually starts for me on the first or second try. There we go. Never rev a cold diesel, so I'm not going to. I will pop the hood. Oh, and look at all that smoke. Love it. Stand back here so maybe you guys can hear me. I had to replace the batteries. It had some like 8-year-old batteries in it. I just replaced them a couple months ago. I have 0 gauge on this battery running to the alternator for the power and ground, and from the power to that battery. I don't have any 0 gauge on that battery to the power distribution or to the ground. I have more 0 gauge to do it with. I just ran out of the lugs, so I need to get more lugs, and then I can do that. It has the stock GM 4 turbo. That little hose you see there, I ran to a boost gauge in there. It's ghetto rigged, but it works. Like I said, it's Hydro Boost. It's a 6.5, and it runs pretty well. I did replace the PMD a couple months ago. It finally went out. The previous owner had never changed it. So I got one with a 6-foot harness. I ran down into the bumper right there, and I put a number 9 resistor in it, because who doesn't like wasting fuel, especially when it's like $4 a gallon. I do have to put coolant in it every so often. It doesn't overheat, it doesn't smoke white, and I know where it's leaking. I'm just too lazy to fix it. It's the best way to put it. I'm thinking about ripping the 6.5 out of it and putting a gas job down in there, like a built 350 or a big block of some sort, if I can get my hands on one for cheap. But for now, this one works. Oh, and blow by, it's real. It's really real. But hey, it still runs and drives. And I used it to pull this Durango 10 miles away, and it didn't break a sweat. It didn't even try to overheat. So for the glow plug, relay, delete, aka the switch I put in there, the wires I used are back here, and they ran to the cab right there. They go to that right there. This is my boost gauge tube. High output alternator. It's supposedly 200 amp. I don't know if that's true or not. Lots of leaks on the turbo, but like I said, it runs fine, so that's all that matters. It runs fine, that's all that matters. Let's see. When you're driving around, if you're beating on it, which you're not supposed to, it'll spike from like 15 up to 20 psi. But cruising on the highway, it's around 3 to 5 psi, so it's within a safe range. The gauge does work. I think there's a leak down here in the hose where there's like a tiny hole, but it's fine. Keeps me from blowing it up. Let's see the sub in action, because why not?
As usual, 85. Quieting down tonight, 68. Same foot.
We'll do this. I use my little cheater thing here. Hook up my iPod. I wasn't trying to rate that. Let's see. It's not super loud, but it's good enough for me. I want to put a big ramp on it though, see what it'll actually do, because at 400 watts peak is not doing much to this, and it already shakes the seats pretty well. Hopefully I don't get demonetized for playing that for more than 15 seconds.
I tried to let you pussy niggas eat. It's time to put your pussy boys to sleep. Pussy niggas always wanna talk. I'm busy getting pussy like a fucking boss. I smell the pussy from a block away. They shooting pussies from a block away. They wanna see a nigga in DJ.
Hands off, I seen them big bags, so I fucked her at the Grammys. I keep her complimenting, my shit is slanted, cold, it painted candy. I'm blowing on the cabinet, my hand full of skills, treating. I got codeine in my cup, I bet you ass some sipping. Movies fall in love, I'm like, bitch, you must be tripping. I'm just tryna fuck, she just needs tuition. Why you tryna stunt? You need to play your position. Never gave a fuck.
So, like I said, it's a work truck. I use as that. Sometimes I'll tool around town with it. But for the most part, I use it for pulling cars around or putting stuff in the bed and hauling it around. For a while there, I used it to do some landscaping stuff with my buddies. And he has a real big landscaping trailer, and he pulled one, and he had another that he was using, and I pulled the other, and it did perfectly fine. I had like a skid steer and some other stuff on it. Not a huge one though, just like a little one for landscaping. So yeah, that's my dually, and I'll probably wrap this video up here in a second. Yes, I do still have lawnmowers and my Kubota, and the attachments for it. I use my Kubota to mow still. It does mad wheelies. I probably shouldn't do them on it. I want to tear it down soon and do a rebuild and repaint it, and then start actually covering it up the right way. But it still works, starts up and drives perfectly fine, and PTO functions. Here's my crappy fire pit I made. My mom just put this down here. I don't know why, but it's a crappy fire pit if I've ever seen one. It's about that. So once I get this all uploaded, which by the way I'm using the iPhone because I don't have a camera to use. My computer I used to use is broken, and I have a laptop, but that's too much work to rip the videos off of this and put it on there and edit. Once I get it all uploaded, I'm gonna go out here and rip the Durango apart for the transmission fluid filter change, which is pretty easy. Anybody can do it, but like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever. Don't watch it, I don't care. No, I really do. I wish people would watch my videos and critique it. But yeah, that's about the end of this video. I'm gonna let you guys look at my cars.